What up, Whiskey Ginger fans? Welcome back to the show. If it's your first time joining the show, welcome to the show. We got a good one for you today. Like my man Steve Harvey done say, it's Jake Johnson. Another Chicago boy like myself. We're depressed about Chicago sports together. It's been rough, but it's all good. Please check out Jake's podcast. He's got a little podcast himself called We're Here to Help. It's wonderful. He's such a good dude. I'm happy he came on the show. I'm back on tour. Me and the Bobo are running around the country. We got Boston coming up first. Boston, Massachusetts. The tickets are almost totally sold out. Then Washington, D.C. Where are you at, our forefathers? Show up. Any of our fathers. Then Denver, Colorado. Then we're doing Chicago, Illinois, my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Madison, and Minneapolis. We're jumping around. Go to badfriendspod.com for those tickets. Badfriendspod.com for those tickets. We love you. Can't wait to see you out there for the final run of 2023. And then we put the Bad Friends tour to bed for a little while. Badfriendspod.com. Come see me live. Enough rambling from me. Let's go to the episode.
In here, we pour whiskey, 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 whiskey.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whiskey Ginger. My guest today is one of my favorite people on earth. I say that for all my guests, but I mean it once again today. It's Jake Johnson. What a good intro I just gave.
It was
that
great.
was so
it was fast. It was smooth.
Cheers, buddy.
Bud.
Great
Nice
to see you. Great to
you
meet
too.
you.
Back at you, bud.
Okay, so here we go.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's very nice. Very smooth, man. One of Chicago's finest.
Man, that's really nice.
A North Shoreman.
Yeah,
I imagine that means you're a Cubs guy.
I am. You a Southside guy?
No. I know I look like Southside
You
guy.
do look like Southside guy.
Or those Southside Irish kids.
You do.
Whenever I go down,
That's exactly
if
what
you
it
would go
is.
down there to those guys, though,
Yeah.
I couldn't even put on the mask to
Yeah,
pretend
yeah,
to be
yeah,
those
for
guys.
sure.
They're tough nutbags.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Northside kid.
Yeah.
But although,
Where in the North Side?
well,
What was your?
my family's all from Rogers Park.
Sure. That's my. I lived with Rogers Park with my mother for years.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You're not
we were
Wilmette.
South. No, we were Winnetka and then South
Winnetka.
Evanston.
Winnetka, that's
so
right.
we did the end of high school was my mom and I in Evanston.
Yeah.
And then she was in Rogers Park for a little bit, and my dad was Lincoln Park.
Oh, Dad had it fancy because your parents split up.
They split up. Yeah.
God bless. They should. Why would they stick together?
Especially if you knew them. What a mess. Those
What a
two.
mess.
The funny thing about parents who split as you age is you look back and you go like, how?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
What kind of dog shit decision did you, with both of you? You're like, look, I like you each.
Yeah.
What did you see in her, my guy?
say that all the
Knowing
time.
you?
Yeah.
Like now that I know you as like a man, what did you like about like 28-year-old Eve Johnson? She's a maniac. You go to, like my mom. You liked it. My dad's nickname was Crocco, as in crock of shit.
Really?
Yeah, had a big mustache. a
It's
car sa-
Cracko, man. He'll
Hey,
sell you. He'll sell you bullshit.
Talks like this. You know, it's like, so what did you like about this like little Jewish salesman? And
But
she's
imagine, what did she like?
like, I think, you know, at least for that, my father, he'd passed, was very charming.
Smooth.
True salesman. And I don't know if you're similar to this, but the feeling of Chicago, I love salespeople.
Yeah, they're great.
I love negotiating.
Yeah.
I don't find it dirty. I find it fantastic. I love when somebody goes, how much for that? And you go like, that's $8. And they go, for a bottle of sparkling water? And you go like this, what are you thinking? I mean, the cap's been open. That's not even straight.
And there's stuff all over the front.
Yeah, I don't know. I could. If you throw that into, I'll give you 10 for both. And you go like, you're the best.
That is inherently a Chicago thing, though.
Yes,
He's
but
like
it's wonderful.
wheeling and dealing.
Always.
Well, so my parents, same thing.
Yeah.
My dad had a lot of trouble with drugs. Spent
Yeah.
most of my childhood in prison.
Oh,
my
in
parents
prison?
they split when I was 1.
Mine were 2.
Yeah.
My dad was drugs and alcohol.
Hey,
What was
dude.
the drug of choice
Cocaine,
from?
baby.
Yes,
Loved
hey.
coke. So he would
Wait,
drink.
when were you born? What year are you?
I'm 83.
Okay, so I'm 70. So 80s, man.
Yeah, 80s.
What a funny
We had the
era.
same childhood on two different parts of Chicago.
Amazing. I mean, Austin, 40% of
Yeah,
the
most of the
are
kids there.
Chicago.
That was everybody there.
Exactly.
But the whole hustler thing is, and that's what I grew up with. I've talked about him on the show,
Yeah.
but my grandfather, his dad, to the day he died, worked at the Maywood dog track.
Great.
Worked at Arlington half of the time, and then
great.
worked for people that don't know, the Arlington is a famous racetrack in Chicago in the suburbs, just outside the city. And Maywood was a greyhound, a literal greyhound racing track. And there goes the rabbit. And I'd be there at like 6 years old with like
good,
cigarettes in my
man.
face. But he was a hustler. He used to go down on the west side and go to like these textile factories, and he'd get rubber mats and he'd hand cut them he'd bring a blade. He knew a guy who'd let him in. He'd paid him off. He'd hand cut rubber. He'd go to a restaurant. He'd walk right into the kitchen. No shit.
Yeah.
And be like, "Where's the manager?" And they're like,
What a king.
and they're like, I don't know, maybe he's around. He's like, "These mats are way past due.
Yeah.
You know, you'll get written up by the city for that."
But
So he would take them out,
I
put them
got
down.
something for you if you want it.
Yeah, and then he'd go 50 of mat, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, I'll cut you. Look, I'll break you off.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll
you
make
tell
this
your
work.
buddy, you know anybody else in the neighborhood, let me flip a mat for, and they would do it. It's like he had no power,
But he made it.
no authority, but he made it happen.
My Uncle Eddie used to do neon signs. I had a year where I dropped out of school and I worked with him. He had legal trouble.
Yeah.
So he came and
He would. The
Of
neon
course.
sign guy? Yeah.
But he would make neon signs, but I would watch him do it. We'd go up and down Clark Street in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
We'd walk into a store blind. He'd go, "Who runs this place?" And he'd go like, "This store I do." And my Uncle Eddie would go like, "You got a great fucking store, but these signs trash. It's trash." The guy would be like, "Okay, man." And I would be sitting there like a little dork at 50 being like, "You can't say this to a stranger."
Yeah.
We would leave. The guy would have given him $300 to start. We're doing a $1,500 sign. The signs were trash.
Yeah, I was
so
just
even
gonna
when I
say.
walk in, I see that I'm like, beautiful sign. The signs me and this fucking man hung up was the beginning of me being like, life is trash. You know, you always hope like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be part of greatness. I'm part of the good team. And then it's your own hands and you're like, I'm a garbage person creating garbage. There were many times we had to run back to his truck. And I was like,
Did he make the signs? Who?
Yeah, he made the signs in my mother's garage in the suburbs. Then we would hang them together.
Right.
Because he got really into like blowing up. But it was that same thing you're talking about. Like he created a hustle. Quick question, transition, not trying to get too heavy.
Pivot.
But instantly connecting you with this, how much of that hustle do you feel like is in our business?
In our business?
Yes.
Oh, it's funny. I think guys, there's a certain kind of guy. Look, I'm not going to include you in this. I don't know you well enough.
I'm probably going to be in it.
But I know what I look like.
Yeah.
And I didn't move out here because I was the hottest guy in school. Yeah. What are we talking about?
Look at the profile, baby.
So for me, it was like
agreed.
I needed that for this game. So I feel like the most successful guys that I know, guys and girls, who aren't just traditionally
No, are hustlers.
stunning,
Agreed,
they're the
man.
exact same thing. So
Yes.
that's what you got from that. My
yeah,
dad was the
I
same
agree.
thing. My dad was a contractor and only exclusively worked on the South and the West Side. Loved it because none of the other guys didn't want to work in a black market. They were like, fuck that. I'm not going down to the
My
black
father
neighborhoods.
had a car dealership on the south side in the black neighborhood.
Anybody
And
who
did
had the
same thing,
balls to be like, I'll be the white guy in that
Because
thing.
there's great money.
Yeah.
And he had great relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also need those services. So all these other guys are like, I'm not
100%.
going down to the fucking South Side. That's nuts. But he would.
100%.
And all of the stuff I saw with him that was the greatest part. When you say with your dad, we have the same dad. The thing my mom liked about him, I know, was that he could fucking convince the person having the worst day that it's all right.
Yeah.
That you know, he'd have a quip.
Yes,
he'd have
you're
like
totally
a
right.
limerick. He'd have like something and flip their mind and be like, yeah.
So my dad did something. He wasn't in my siblings in my life until he got sober when I was about 18.
Mm-hmm.
And so my older brother, my older sibling were pretty cool and they forgave him pretty fast. And I just kind of thought like, well, I got a lot of fucking spite. And I like spite.
Yeah, Spite's kind of nice.
So I was like, fuck you, man. And he just kept pushing, and it was fake, but he just turned into a fan. So not just of the work, of everything. He'd go like, look at that hat on your head. Now that's a good-looking guy. And you'd be like, stop it. You're complimenting everybody, Crocco. People see through it. He would call grown men babyface. If you went to a valet, my brother and I would say like, do it. He'd be like, no problem. And he'll go, hey, sweetheart, hey, babyface. I'm looking for easy in, easy out on this. All I got is $20. And you'd have these like super tough black guys going like, you want easy in? And my dad would go, come on, babyface, get us out of here. He would. But my dad just leaned into this idea of being a fan of everyone.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It worked.
I would feel myself being like, I just like this fucking guy. And I'm like, so going back to what my mom saw in him was she probably did not think the booze and the drugs were going to win.
Right.
She
At
thought
some
the
point.
charm was going to win.
Yeah.
And she bet wrong.
Yeah. It's a bad bet.
It's a bet, but it's hard not to bet on charm.
Well, because especially if it's like that, where babyface to like a
It's so
a grown
good. Yeah,
adult
yeah, yeah.
male, but it working. It's the same. It's my dad. We'd go to breakfast spots. We'd go to. He used to take me. He used to love to go to the Golden Nugget. Love to go to the
sure.
Nugget, and he'd walk in and immediately he'd say, "Hi, Richie." You know these
Hey,
slovenly older women. He'd go,
you doing,
"God, you
gorgeous?"
look beautiful." And they're immediately like
but-
they become, you know, they think that they're
Bella-
Marilyn
but
Monroe.
by the way, here's what I'm starting to realize. They all know the game.
Yeah.
But they like it.
They love the game.
It'll be like, look at you, you beautiful woman. And she'll go like this. She knows she's walking around at 250 and on the wrong side of 65 with real ups and downs with drugs that
Yes,
you can see
yeah,
in the teeth.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Where you're like,
Well, whatever's left. Yeah.
whatever. But the way she'll move then, I'd be like, man, this is a fun vibe. I got to tell you, my brother and I have started playfully experimenting with the game. And so he's an everyday call, like he's my guy. But when I'm like, all right, man, I'm pulling in, he'll go, do it. And you go in, you go like, hey, I'm just gonna go in and out, and you'll hear like, all right, man, 20. I'm like, thanks so much, babyface. And when it goes sideways, it's the funniest thing that happens between you and one person and a silent person on the phone, because the guy will go, yeah, 20. And I'll be like, all right, man, thanks, babyface. And then you're like, sideways, abort. And then hearing him pull it off, where he'll be like, okay, sweetheart, I'm looking for that. And you'll hear like, okay, I guess. And you're like, ooh. No bueno,
But it's
Dan.
worth the shot.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Is
But
he out
when-
here, your brother?
No, Chicago.
He's back home.
Yeah, and when it works, though, and it has worked a few times,
Yeah.
where I'm like, I just called a grown man, babyface, good looking, and the vibe was a sweetness back.
Yeah. Because I think everybody's doing their best to not let all their bullshit come out.
Yeah.
So when you do a little trickster nonsense, they're like,
Okay.
all right, this is all right.
I'm in.
The day's not bad.
Between you and me, we got 2 minutes of niceness.
Yeah.
And when you enter that with a stranger,
Yeah.
and you get to go, it's just you and me in this thing. Let's just have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be over soon anyway. Might
Let's
as well have
just
some fun.
enjoy this, because so many people I've realized are such pieces of shit to each other,
Yeah.
and they like it.
Yeah.
My mother was that way. My mother was one of those people that she would look forward to people being in our seats. She would look forward to conflict. She loved when if we were at like a restaurant.
They're in our fucking seats.
But she truly liked it.
Yeah, I'm not like that.
I'm not like that. And you know there's people who like will talk about liking it, but they don't like it. They like the show of it because that makes you seem tough.
Right.
But they don't like it. They've just been abused.
Yeah.
And they have anger issues. But you don't like it.
No.
My mother likes it. She gets like a charge of like, oh, the whole night's worth it. So she would never call someone babyface. If anything, she might with her eyes just be like, all right, $20. Yeah, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Say something mean. Her dad, the other side of Chicago was my grandfather. Her dad was named Mean Eddie. And Mean Eddie was a little 5'4" Irish guy.
Yeah.
And all the stories, as mean as it gets, owned little, whatever they're called, like weed shops, but not weed shops, where you can buy like a bong.
A head shop.
Yeah, a little head
shops,
shop
yeah,
right near Wrigley on Clark.
Yeah.
But back in the 60s, he just had these like little shops, would walk around, go into places and just look for fights. And that is the other side of Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's the Chicago that, although I think is cool, I don't relate to.
I don't like
I've
it.
never liked fighting.
No.
I never even when I was younger and pretended to be tough for like a 6-month period, I was still like, yeah, fuck that guy. I hope nobody starts throwing punches, especially not hitting my face. And you're like, you're a sissy. It's like such a sissy.
Yeah. Everybody is though.
Nobody.
Only a
some
few
are.
people really want to
Agree.
fight.
And those people are animals.
yeah, they're lunatics.
But there are some people
Yes,
like that.
There is a couple that love to fight.
And that they will have a night where it starts where they're like getting ready, 23 years old, putting the cologne on, doing the shirt and going like, I really hope somebody fucks with me tonight. I'm going to kill somebody. When I've wanted to be that guy, I'm still like, I hope somebody fucks with me. And then the last second, a bigger person breaks it up. Goes, holy shit, am I a puss?
No, you have a working
Yeah.
brain
Yes.
that goes, look, dude, it's cool to be machismo. everybody wants to be the guy.
Everybody wants to be that.
But
it
at the
ain't
end,
reality.
no thanks.
It
dude.
ain't reality.
If you've been hit in the face, you know it
One time.
hurts so
So
much.
bad.
It's the fucking worst.
I'll tell you what else also hurts, and this is real cis talk.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting. There's no
Hitting does
win.
hurt. It hurts so much.
If punching somebody was punching a marshmallow, I'd be a bully.
Yeah, it'd be
I'd
tough.
kill these fools.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It hurts so much. Your hands the next day after a fight are so sore.
You go like
your forearms and
everything,
your
like,
wrists. It hurts so
hated
much.
Hated it. Even like stupid stuff like training, like boxing training. I boxed for a while. And I'll be like, how was it? And then my wife was like, well, you're not getting hurt, are you? And I'm like, honey, he's not hitting me back. And she's like, so why is everything in ice? And I'm like, because it's a nightmare. I'm punching a stupid bag and it's winning.
Yeah, the bag wins.
My arms are really hurting. Like, I think I broke something.
I got in fights in college because we were animals.
Yeah.
And I fucking hated all of them.
Yeah,
I hated it because every time it was a friend starting it,
Yeah.
and you had to be the
Yeah.
guy's guy with him.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I only have started one fight my whole life, and only one, and it was very just.
Yeah.
It was like a guy being a pig to this girl.
That's cool.
And it was just.
Yeah.
It was still atrocious.
Yeah.
It was like, why am I doing this? But all the other times,
I.
man, I was fighting for friends, and I fucking hated it. I hated it.
Yeah, I had a thing, and my mother, who was tough, I was in 7th or 8th grade going through, I'm a little bit older than you, and I don't know if your group hit it, but the starter jacket phase.
Come on, man. You kidding me?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
My parents were so nervous about me wearing them outside.
Yeah, so I had a Duke starter jacket, so. I had a Duke starter jacket, so.
Okay, hot shot.
Just to set the vibe of this story, right? So I'm walking around, probably a Miami Hurricane hat.
Gotta be. With the old, like, the spindle of colors behind him, right? I remember that hat. Yeah.
That was tough. That was cool.
It's a good hat.
And in the suburbs, in like my little like group, we weren't fighting, but we were listening to the right music.
Mm-hmm.
And so who's going to receive the brunt end of my toughness? My sister.
Right. That makes the most sense.
I could kill her. I could eat her up for dinner.
And anybody in the neighborhood, you could whoop your sister. That's the one.
Yeah, I knew I had her and people's younger siblings. But my mom had a moment where something happened with my sister and I was from like mall fights using the term "you want to go."
You want to go?
Yeah, and that meant like, we know what you want to go, and then you want to go, and it would be that back and forth. So I said it to my sister, and my mother did not like that. So she goes, "You say that to her again, you and me are gonna go." And my sister did and I was 3 steps up on the stairs. At this point, I was, I think 15, 14.
All right, so you got some weight on you a little bit.
My mother was a heavy lady.
Okay, she was.
Yeah, she was a big Chicago
So you were
woman.
fighting out of your weight class.
I didn't even think about it, but
Was there a weigh-in? There was no weigh-in, huh?
the weigh-in would have been 105 pounds, soaking wet with 9 pubes, versus a woman walking around at 185.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
Fuck you up.
Yeah. Now, I was probably taller than her.
Sure. But her reach was probably stronger.
Her reach was stronger. The weight for sure was a different. But what was really the difference was the meanness,
Yeah, the anger.
the
bubbling.
ability to be tough.
Right.
Because she goes, "Stop saying it. We're gonna go." And I went like this, and my sister was giving me the look. So I this is a true story, half-heartedly went like, "You want to go?" Really, just to save face with my sister.
Right. You got to do it because she's right there.
It's humiliating.
You got to do it.
I'm not a little chicken shit. What's my mom gonna do? I'm gonna go upstairs and later I'm gonna apologize to my mom when my sister's not around, like a true coward.
Right.
Like that. This woman comes at me like a tiger, grabs me, hip checks me, throws me across the room. I go down. I see the other side of my mom. And if you had a scary a grown up who was heavy, doing the waddle towards
waddle
it,
forward you. Yeah.
gave me one in the ribs. I was on the ground. I was like, "Ah!" She goes, and I think her exact words were, "You're a little pussy. Don't do this."
Oh my God, dude.
And it changed me.
Yeah.
And we've laughed about it since. And she, like, the real stories afterwards, she cried.
Oh,
She was like, I don't want this for you. I love you. She's like, "This isn't you." And I was like sitting there listening to NWA being like, I was like smoking a Newport being like, there might be something you're saying that's true, Mama. Mama,
you might be right.
I'm going to tell you this. Everything I do for you, Mama. Single mom, and I love you. But I think I might be going down the wrong road.
Your mom had I have the mom who's Irish, who has the we don't talk about it and we throw it way down deep. So my mom's favorite
And your
phrase,
dad was gone.
Yes. And then my stepdad came into my life, which
Okay.
was wonderful. But my mom, when we were together, when she was single and we lived in the city, we bounced around buildings. We lived all over, kind of near River North, and we bounced around. My mom worked for she worked for a property management company that managed all these big buildings.
Okay, great.
So I lived, like, at one point, I was 1111 Dearborn, 2310 LaSalle.
you're
We were
moving.
all over the place. Yeah, and only so many years downtown. But she had this way about her that was, like, grew up with 10 kids.
Yeah, my
She
mom
one
had
of 10.
9. 1 of 9.
So when you were like, oh, the blank, 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 and she was always like, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You'll be all right was always like a, do you have no any fucking idea what I've been through?
Yeah.
Like, they had such little food sometimes.
Yeah, same with my mom.
She would only get fat. Like, if they had meat and the fat that'd be trimmed, they would ask for the fat.
Yeah.
So she liked eating the fat because it was like what she got then at some point was like, if that's all they're trimming, we'll take
Then I'm eating it.
throwaways.
Yeah.
Well, so that was her mentality, was like, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
not like a don't be a pussy, but it was. It was more like,
Stop it.
oh, that's your problem?
Yeah.
Fucking
By the way, I think
run
there's
out of food.
I think there's something really. So my mom was similar upbringing, handled it in a different way.
Yeah.
Uh,
She kicked you.
yeah, but I mean only once. And I will say I deserved it.
Yeah, it was your fault. You
I
said you
really-
want to go.
Yes, but I will say that type of parent, especially now as I've gotten older and seen more generations. It was a really nice gift, man.
Yeah.
Of somebody like I grew up with food. I did not grow up struggling. I did not have that brutality.
Right.
She did a great job with me. I knew what she lived through, and so I could like see that was a reality. But I'm like, man, I don't know. The more people I've met where they have you hear about their upbringing, it's like love over support for generations. You're like, even your great grandparents were kind and wealthy.
You had everything
Yeah.
forever?
So, wait a second. There were people in like 1890 who had good lives. I thought good life started in the 80s.
Yeah. And even then,
kind of, but that was the drugs.
Yeah.
But I was like, I did not realize until way too late that like, oh, people have had happy families.
Yeah.
Generationally.
Right.
And I'm like,
And lots of love and lots,
and
of,
lots
support.
of support.
Yeah,
but I
that's
think
it.
what you miss a little bit is going back to this. What we were talking about, this business, the grind of it.
In here, we pour whiskey.
Hey, have you ever searched your name online? It's a no bueno, okay? It's no fun. You could be very surprised by the amount of personal information that is available online, your full legal name, your email, your home address, phone numbers, family members, your favorite food, your shoe size, what kind of underwear you prefer. It's pretty insane how much personal information is on the internet. In 2022 alone, last year, there were over 1,800 data breaches that exposed personal information for over 422 million individuals. That's disgusting. Everyone's stuff is getting leaked, and that's why I'm thrilled to partner with Aura. Aura is an all-in-one online safety solution that helps protect you and your family from identity theft, financial fraud, and online threats before they happen. With Aura, you can rest easy knowing someone is looking out for you. Okay, I used Aura. I love it so very much, honestly. It's incredible how much stuff is out there for the world. Now look, there's only so much you can do to protect yourself and the ones that you love, but Aura is offering a suite of tools to help that with parental controls, a VPN, which I highly recommend you use, especially if you're out of the country, you're traveling around, password managers, credit card activity, computer virus protection. They have everything that you need all in one place. Aura helps reduce annoying robocalls, telemarketers, and junk mail by sending takedown requests on your behalf regularly. If you want some safety and protection on the World Wide Web, the biggest information black hole, you're going to need some protection. Use Aura. For a limited time, Aura is offering our listeners a 14-day trial, plus a check of your data to see if your personal information has been leaked online, all for free when you visit aura.com/whiskey. That's Aura, AURA.com/whiskey to sign up for a 14-day free trial and start protecting you and your loved ones. Aura.com, AURA.com/whiskey. Certain terms apply, so be sure to check the site for details. This episode of Whiskey Ginger is brought to you by Rabbit Hole and their one-of-a-kind bourbon and rye whiskeys. I love this sauce. I've been talking about Rabbit Hole for far too long now because I'm trying to tell you guys it's so good. Stop making the mistake of going past beautiful, delicious well-crafted bourbon when you see this stuff in the store. Rabbit Hole's founder, Kaveh Samanian, he gave up a 25-plus year career as a clinical psychologist to pursue his passions to craft the world's finest spirits, and that he did. They take no shortcuts. There's no compromise, okay? And he's doing it down in Louisville, Kentucky, the place where bourbon is made. Their mission is to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, I have to say with a British accent, and their whiskeys prove it, okay? These are so good. Original mash bill recipe, signature multigrains, aged in hand-selected and charred and toasted barrels. This high gold is stuff I've been sipping on for quite a while now. All 4 of their expressions are really good, but this is their award-winning high rye double malt bourbon, and they say it's got toasted butterscotch flavors. I just say it feels like freedom. Feels like freedom, baby. It tastes so good. It's great to have. My favorite part about Rabbit Hole, other than the price point, the quality, this bottle is beautiful. It's very shareable. This is something that someone comes over, you're breaking out the good stuff, and they don't even know it, that you got it for a very good price for high quality, delicious bourbon. They got the Derringer, that's finished in PX Sherry casks. Those Pedro Jimenez, the Cave Hill, the High Gold, Boxer Grail. They got so much good stuff. If you're looking to try something new and delicious, don't be suspicious. Get your hands on some of this Rabbit Hole. Go to rabbitholedistillery.com/drizzly and use the promo code RABBIT for $5 off your first order. Or, I suggest this, go to rabbitholedistillery.com. You can look on their map to find where it's sold in your area. You've seen these bottles. They're in the stores. They're sold almost everywhere that your little eyes could gaze upon at a liquor store. Go grab some Rabbit Hole. Jump down the rabbit hole with me. Please drink responsibly and enjoy.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is a question for you just to goof off for a little bit. But when you're talking about the looks, I've had debates with friends a lot of how much of this game is talent and how much of it is grind. Because I don't believe in luck.
No, I don't either.
But I also
It's
don't
so
believe-
funny. I've said this before on the show. I think luck is a bullshit word.
People use it because they don't grind hard. Where they go like, oh, well, did you know? Like that guy just came out here and well, look at who hooked him up. And you go like, well, how do you think that person hooked me up?
Right.
Well, you think they were just walking around Walmart hooking people up?
Help!
Yeah.
Help!
In what goddamn world?
Yeah, no, that's
It's
insane.
like, no, it's all a game. But my big kind of thing that I've kind of gotten to that I like to think about is like, but what the fuck is talent? It's not like we're magicians, right? We're like,
Yeah.
you know, you go like, well, what's talent? I'm a juggler. I did 95 balls at once. And you go, undeniably, that's
Pretty
incredible.
talented, yeah.
We're all doing about 3 or 4 balls.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I can get the 2. I get 2 real well.
Maybe you learn to do a trick with a little bit of fire, and only because you realize it's just a hot ball.
Yeah, it's not going to burn me.
It's not, and then you go, well, there's thousands of us doing the same kind of juggling.
A lot of people want to play with a hot ball.
Why do certain people keep winning and winning? I'm like, it has to just be out of 100. Hustle's 80% of the game.
So much. I think it's an uneven amount of hustle over talent. So much so that sometimes very, very talented people, as we know, this is a story as old as time, who don't have the go get, they just don't snap.
They don't have the business and show.
Like there's one guy that I know that I think about all the time, and I would never say his name or anything, but I thought he was genuinely
Yeah.
one of our most talented friends that we had in our group when we all first started. It was undeniable how good he was.
Interesting.
And he fucked off. He fucked off so much that it wasn't the drinking or the getting high. We all partied.
Yeah.
We were 24. But it was like, he just didn't give enough of a fuck.
I've had this similar thing.
And you're like, don't you care? You're better than all of us.
So get out there. Yeah.
What don't you
know who
understand?
we both are right now?
Huh.
Benny Affleck to Matt Damon in Goodwill.
100%.
You know, it's if I see you on this construction site, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you.
We needed that. I needed to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're right, though. I think it is a lot of, it's so much more pushing, but then once you get in, right? It's almost like you've seen those trains in China where they shove everybody in.
Yes.
It's like shoving and shoving. That's what the business is.
That's exactly right.
It's like, but once you get in, you better
Now
be,
the game
you better
starts.
be fucking good.
Yeah, but also now the game starts.
Right. Now you have to really maneuver.
I like the train thing. I've always viewed it as this town is like a huge, beautiful table, and there's X amount of seats, and you got to fight, and you get a seat, and you think like, now I got a seat I can eat, and then as soon as you sit down, they say everybody stand up again.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they take away a few seats.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole new generation that comes in that you go like, I don't know these people. And then you start watching, you go like, no, I don't like that shit. That's not for me. And then you see a groove and you go, they're doing some good stuff.
Yeah.
That's a funny group.
That's a good shift, though.
Yeah, but you go like, that's a really like, there's some talent.
Yeah.
And you go like, hey, man, great. And then you go, at least for me, my game goes, because I've been out playing this for a while. I want to fight for a seat again, or am I good?
Yeah.
And you go, I still like because it's less anything else. I like the game.
It's fun.
It's fun. I
is
like
fun.
the hustle. I like the grind. I feel like I'm walking up on someone's door, knocking, and going like, I got a beautiful sign for you.
Right.
Like, let's hustle.
Let's do it.
What is this? Like, the game changes. Everyone goes like, the business is so different, man. I go like, thank God.
Yeah, well, you wanted it to stay the same.
It's
forever.
always going to change. Could you imagine if we're still playing this game in 20 years? What we're going to be doing? So ugly.
It'd be ugly. It's miserable. It's a good thing it's changing. That's so funny.
But it's
I wish it
exciting.
never changed. You're like, really?
Really, man?
None of it? Yeah. Okay, dude. I think you're
But
misstepping.
every generation you come, the kind of the old heads always say like, you know, when I came up, we were doing like early YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I was part of like the Derek Waters group who created the drunk history.
Yeah,
Saying
I
like,
remember.
let's do it in a backyard. And
He did that because of you. Is that a lie?
Well,
The
I mean,
rumor was that you guys got fucked up
Yeah,
together,
so-
and you
but-
were telling him a bullshit
Yeah, but
story.
none of it was not us. It was him. I got drunk.
Yeah, but you gave him some of the.
Yeah. Well, I told a story about Otis Redding
Yeah.
that I believed to be true. It's a 10-minute story. I can tell it to you in 3 lines. Otis Redding, the night before he died, used to write all his movies with his wife, or his songs with his wife. He gets on a private plane, has a feeling, gets off, goes to her, and says, no matter what happens, promise me you'll be good. And she goes, you're crazy. Get on the plane. He goes, I'm not getting on till you said. She goes, I promise. He gets on the plane crashes, he dies.
In which lake? Lake Monota or Lake Mendota?
Second one.
It's tough, isn't it? Every time I go to Madison, I go, which fucking lake did he crash in? I want to stare at it for
Yeah.
an hour.
So that's the story, right?
Yeah.
This was really pre-internet and Google hard pushes.
Sure.
So I'd heard it in a bar in Chicago.
Right.
When I told it to Derek, I took 45 minutes and I was doing voices. I truly believed he
Yeah.
was having an out-of-body experience of how, because he was looking at me like this, and I thought like, you're in the groove, Jakey J, don't stop. You know, if you're surfing, finish the wave. So I went for it. The next day he calls me up, he goes, hey man, can I come back with our friend Jeremy Connor and can we get you drunk and film you telling that story? And I was thinking like, well, I understand why you'd want to film it. I don't understand why I would be drunk like a goddamn clown.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to reenact it and have Otis Redding behind you being like, shut the fuck up. None of this happened.
Yeah.
And as a commercial actor at the time, I said, I can't have my agent see me drunk. Back then, I was
that's
like,
smart. That's actually really smart.
I
that
was
you were
like, man,
fuck
I
that.
just got in the union. I was just getting commercials. I was still catering. I was like, no, I can't do a YouTube video where I'm blackout drunk, man. I was
Yeah.
like, won't do it. And he goes, all right, I'll get somebody else. Will you just be in it? And then it started. But that whole era, the older guys that like ye rustic in would be saying to us,
Love.
you do that shit for free? Yeah. Well, you're hurting all of us. And I'd be like, yeah, but I got to.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
I got to make something. I got to hustle.
Yeah, what did you want me to do?
Not work because you guys aren't giving me jobs.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, fun, man. Then you get in and you start going like, you guys are doing all that for free? Well, you're killing us. And I'm like, yeah, I am balding too. I get it. I see what happened here, guys. Good stuff.
That is the fact, though, is like
That's the game.
and what you're saying there is interesting. As I told you, what I said was that the most impressive thing that I found in my life is instead of doing that weird fucked up thing when you see younger or others and going,
yeah.
ugh, no, is going, oh, let me see this for what it's worth.
Yep.
Also, I can work with this.
Yes, totally.
You know what it's like? It's like
That's
Pesh
interesting.
doing that show, Bupkis with Pete Davidson show.
You calling Pesci Pesh?
My man.
Are you boys with Pesci?
I don't want to tell you nothing, all right? None of your business.
fucking
You come
friends?
at me with a knife, you better come back with a gun. Pesci doing that, to me, was like,
I agree.
it's like, oh, yeah, it's doing this to the younger
Yeah.
generation. And also understanding his seat is still there because he's kept up.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I know what I think is cool, and
I'm still here.
I'm still here,
Yeah,
and I'll
I'm
come
still-
back down to the seat.
'cause
And
I
by the
wanna
way,
play a little bit.
I'm sure. I'm not saying they made him read it, but I'm sure he went out for that, and there was a ton of deliberation that they were like, "Is he good for this thing?"
Yeah.
Agreed. People at home are like, "They'll just give anything to." It's like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not how it
it's
works.
not how it works.
No, I'm sure they sat in the room and they go,
course
"Will
they
this
did.
work?" Because honestly,
He won't read. He
No.
won't take meetings.
Right.
He doesn't know what the fuck Zoom
so
is.
who knows?
So if he comes in, and we have all worked with older guys and older women that are dog shit.
Oh my god, dude!
and
that
you
are
start
just,
and you go like, man, I was really excited about this bit because it sets up the character, and your brain is mashed with fucking potatoes, and there's no way out of it now.
And they're doing this with their readers on a phone.
And they have bad attitudes.
Yeah, and they're mad at you about everything.
Because and then like I always improvise, and I don't improvise as like a big. It just starts to happen, and then they'll go, "Now I don't know where I am," and I'm like,
Well,
I don't know what to tell you.
yeah.
We're here together.
You saw the words that were there.
Yeah, and also I'm not
Put a couple.
I'm not like an improv joke guy, and I'm not like a gotcha guy.
Right.
So my improv did end with a question.
Yeah.
I was hoping to set you up for something.
I was opening the door. I just thought you'd
I'm
want to.
happy if you win, my guy. I just forgot the lines.
Yeah.
And thought, well, I'm here and you're here.
And also, we get to do this again. This isn't real film. None of this matters.
None of this matters.
Well, that the most complimentary thing I've ever seen is sometimes I'll work with people that are so good at improv, but they give you everything.
Yeah.
I've always been jealous of those guys.
Yeah.
I can bounce with almost anybody,
Yeah.
but the guy that can give you stuff but
Yeah.
they almost don't take anything because of it. Like, I only did one fun scene with Bateman. I did Arrested Development.
Bum.
And dude, there are some guys where you're like, so you don't get anything back.
Yeah.
You just get to give setups.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of Bateman. I like to be that role.
Yeah.
And-
Straight.
Well, I like to, obviously if you're in a groove, get your laughs.
Yeah.
But in a very selfish way, it's because you become the first audience member. And especially if you're doing episodic and you're with the same people over and over.
Which you've done a lot. Yeah.
I get really bored.
Sure.
So if you and I are doing something and I'm like, man, I really like this guy. We went out like he's a super funny guy. I know he likes this zone. I know he doesn't like this zone. So in the scene, if I can get you to this zone and you have to play along and you score, it's the joy for me.
Yeah.
Because then you both know, like, you'll be in a scene and you'll say something and we'll make eye contact. And when the other person at two shot then goes like, yeah, like, I know where we're going to go.
I love that.
And it ends with you winning.
Right. Yeah,
So
you're
it's
going to
like,
win.
You're going to win. I'm going to put you in a zone where we're both going to be biting our cheeks
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to have to do that thing that you said in confidence. Like, I just don't feel comfortable doing this. The night before we were drinking, I'm like, that's really cool. Gotcha. Let's have some fun. And that, to me, if you get somebody scoring and having fun, it makes those 12-hour days fun.
A lot easier.
A lot
easier.
easier.
Is there someone you remember working with that you did that to the most? I mean,
Lamorne Morris.
I was just gonna. I literally was gonna guess Lamorne. I was like,
Lamorne.
he's got to be the most fun because he's very talented and handsome, which is a little fucking annoying.
Yeah, but Lamorne is when Lamorne is a guy because he would very clearly have a look of panic at times, where you would put, like, if he would ever improvise something. And one of the things I really love to do when somebody's improvising and they get out a little bit ahead of themselves is just go.
Which happens a lot.
A lot. Well, you're making shit up.
Yeah,
it's
you're
really
going-
hard.
you're just going.
And what people don't realize, there's a full crew. There's a lot of anxiety.
This, by the way, the boom doing this thing when there's too much improv and him going.
Oh, hating it. The operator's literally going like this. But you got to keep gunning.
We're not going to use most of this, guys. Yeah, you're like.
Negative crew members.
It is very
are
funny.
so
though.
funny.
It makes me laugh.
Max Greenfield and I used to do something on that show that was so childish but so fun, and that is when we would be improvising and nobody liked it.
Yeah.
And the crew hated it. The writers didn't like it. It was late, and it was just childish.
You can feel it. The air is thick.
No one's into it.
Yeah.
But we're now doing the thing where I'm like, I put you in a position, and he's like, I put you in a position. He would go, the boys are cooking with gas. And then we'd point at crew members, and we'd be like, Monty's dying. Look at the boom. He can't hold it in. He's like,
And none of them. Yeah.
they didn't think that was funny. So then you're in a zone where there's a 50-year-old guy looking at you like this, and you go like, look at this fucking guy. He's like this. I can't break. I'm only going to do a few more takes, my guy. Then we go, one more for the crew. When you enter that galaxy,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this shit gets fun.
It is fun.
It is.
It's fake, by the way. That's the funniest part. When everybody gets serious, you're like, this is all fake?
All of it.
It's-
Even if
none
you're
of it's
doing
real.
stuff that, like, people are pretending really matters. It's all, we are grown-ups make believe this is meant to be fun.
It's dress up. Seinfeld. That was
Yes.
my favorite. Seinfeld's like, we're playing dress up.
Yeah.
Like the best version of dress up we've ever done.
When you moved out here, what was the big dream?
Honestly,
And
at the beginning.
embarrassing. Let's hear like the big
Oh yeah,
dream.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
because I lied and told my parents I was coming out here to write comedy, but I knew better. It was I want to do stand up.
You did.
I was so embarrassed about even admitting stand up And by the way,
Yeah.
didn't even remotely say acting. That to my parents was like, acting? Fucking
You?
acting. Okay, buddy. You know, it was like no fucking way could I have ever said acting.
Yeah, agreed.
But my
It's like
biggest,
saying poetry.
yeah, it was, no worse.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
like it was a spoken word. It was like,
That's right. Writing comedy as a job, going like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna do spoken word.
yeah, that's
No,
what it
you're
is.
not.
Yeah, no,
No,
you're not.
You're staying here.
I think truly it was SNL at the beginning stages of
To
my life.
write or to be in it.
Just to be on it. I
Just
wanted
to
to be
be-
on
you
it
wanted to be
so
in that
bad.
galaxy,
Yeah. I got the test for it. It was nice.
Oh, you did.
I did, yeah. It was nice.
Cool.
I've told the story ad nauseum on this show. I'm sure fans are like,
yeah.
shut the fuck up. I got to go test and then fly back out and sit with Lauren and him very sweetly afterwards be like, I think it's going to be Pete Davidson. And I was like, that's a good choice. No, it was actually, I've said it so much on this show. I couldn't agree with the pick. I was 31.
Yeah.
He was 20.
Yeah, God bless.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
Who wants a 31-year-old that's already been on television and I was already touring as a stand-up. I was figuring out my shit.
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer.
But so when that
was my dream.
that was interesting.
When I was 22, if you would have said, what is it? It was that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to tour and be a stand-up.
Yeah, of course.
I thought that, you know what it was? It was like with Steve Martin.
Yeah,
guys like that where you're
That's who
like,
you love.
you could touch all the bases? You
Yeah.
touched all the bases? Yeah, I think like
Totally.
those kind of guys were kind of my like, you know, of course, Eddie Murphy. Like those are heroes when we were kids. I was like, they can do anything and it's amazing.
Yeah.
They can do stand-up, they could do sketch, they could do
Anything.
anything and it was great.
Drama,
What was
comedy,
your,
both.
when you came out, what was your...
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I see you as such like a stand-up actor. So
Yeah.
Like, you know, where you're like, I don't think of sketch.
No, and it truly like that's what's so fucked up. I was disillusioned by all the previous stand-ups that had gone on that show.
Because I could see you doing like Weekend Update.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean that I would love.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but then you look at the guys now,
Yeah.
and like I know those guys. They're so fucking good at that job.
Yeah, they're killers.
And I know America, you know, they're so funny when people are like, oh, SNL, blah 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 blah. You're like, okay, do it.
Yeah, agreed.
Go fucking try it.
Yeah.
I dare you to go write that many jokes.
Oh, week after week
Good
after
fucking
week.
luck.
But also with a live audience that matters.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And by the way, in a studio that they've been sitting, they sat in a line outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here. Go do it. Go ahead. I'm doing it at the store at night to people that are drinking that cannot wait to laugh. SNL's doing it to fucking cold sober people in November in New York who's been outside for an hour and a half in line. Then they had to wait to get in. Then they wait for the thing. It's like, go try it. But anyway, that was that was kind of like
was
the
the
thing
thing.
I thought was going to be, that would be it for me.
Everything,
Yeah, but I honestly, now,
Yeah, it all
this
shakes
is
it. Yeah,
this
of
is
course.
it.
Yeah.
For me, comedy, stand-up and acting.
You love it.
Stand-up, I could do till I'm dead. Acting, I'll do until they tell me to go away.
But stand up will always
Till
be.
I'm dead. It'll be the
love
one
it.
where it's like, you'll have to be like, dude,
You love it. Good
it's
for you,
the
man.
cruise ship is docked. You got to get off.
And you'll be like, yeah, but then I'll perform here. While people get off. There's money to be had. There's laughs to be had. People got to go to their cars, no?
It is true. And that to me would be
that's
like
nice.
when it's over.
Yeah.
That will be my end.
That's fun.
When you moved, what did you want?
Well, for me, growing up, it was always Cheers. It was
Cheers.
It was, so my family getting together, we had the one TV.
Yeah.
And we did not have cable growing up, so we had NBC. And when Cheers or Roseanne came on,
Yeah.
we watched.
Oh, Roseanne.
And in my house, my mother, who was the boss, her mood set the table. And if she's laughing, our house was awesome. And if she wasn't, it depends on the day. But
Yeah.
if she was laughing, it was fucking awesome. And so shows that made her laugh, I thought like, man, I want to be one of them. I want to be a character on a television show. And I really believed that if you had that, everything else worked out. I didn't really understand that, like, you go home and you have your own issues and life goes on. I thought, like, you live that fantasy and you're going to have a pool and a convertible and just money coming out your ass and your ears. And for a job, you, like, walk into a bar and, you know, like Woody for that, for example.
Yeah.
Sam for that. Norm, to be Cliff Clavin. I was like, these guys were such killers.
Yeah.
And then when I watched Roseanne, seeing, like, you know, what Goodman did, where I was like, oh, he's grounding this, but he's like, he's funny. And I was like, man, just that.
That was it.
That was it times 100. Movies, I've always thought were cool, but I was never, even when like we were all in our like late teenage, early 20s and films were cool and TV sucked, I've always been into TV.
Oh, even when it was like at the height of
Like,
comedy film.
But even like for me, even if you have like the, Scorsese, all these really cool people,
Yeah.
I'm still not a guy who's like, did you see the new Tarantino movie? I'm sure I will. And I'm definitely gonna be impressed because he's wildly talented. But I'm not like, did you see the 35 millimeter print outside of the Beverly? I'm like, pass. But I did watch 19 episodes of television because it's at home.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to leave.
But you know why? I appreciate it because all of those shows, for some reason, maybe this is a Chicago bias, but it felt like they were all Chicago.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know what was
But they were
going
for
on.
Years they were.
But so many was. Like,
Yes.
beyond the fact that John Hughes had, spewed
yes.
Chicago all over film
Yes.
so heavily that, like, everyone you even saw, it was like... Everyone
Everything.
that was coming out of everything was all Chicago. Yeah, it
But then
felt
you
like it
also
was
had,
all for us.
You had like characters. You had like Bill Murray. So the Murray family
Chicago.
are just Chicago through and through.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, and it's not just like because he's talented. Like, there's a vibe he gives off.
Yeah.
Belushi.
Same.
You know, both Belushis.
Yeah.
That is Chicago.
Yeah.
There's a feeling. I mean, Farley, who wasn't, but even though he did the second
He
city,
was.
it felt like that's Chicago.
He's Milwaukee, but he's
Chicago.
Chicago.
Tim Meadows.
Same thing.
But you're like,
yeah.
Tina Fey, Rachel Dratch, that group where you're like, oh, you've been touched. There was like a feeling of like, Chicago's been here and this is what we do.
Yeah.
And you go, at least for me, that was always the dream. And then, when we're talking earlier about the game keeps changing, I'm like, our sitcom's going to be in the game in 10 years?
I do honestly think so. I genuinely
I don't
think
know
I
anymore.
think a version of them will be.
Yes, but a version of them, an 8-episode comedic show, which is very cool, is not an old TV show.
That's true.
And it's great.
Right.
And it's really good content. And I'm playing that game too, and I like it. But in doing it, I'm like, these are little movies.
Yeah.
We're back to shooting a little movie. And now, the TV show I did was always single camera. So we had big hours. But what was different is we did sometimes 25 episodes a year. So you become the character. The writers are writing for you.
Right.
Your bits make it onto the show. You then do that. You have a 7-year contract. You go through fat phases on television, and then the writers write it, and you go like, why is my character eating donuts for breakfast and everyone else has grapefruit? And they go like,
What did you eat for breakfast?
they're like, yeah, you don't even fit in sweatpants.
As you're asking them.
Exactly. I'm like,
This is just one.
yeah, this was my morning fucking don't judge me. Don't judge me. But that, to me, I've gotten away from it, and I'm starting to get back in my life. But then I started thinking, like, movies are cool. Maybe, you get into more dramas.
Well, the thing to me that's exciting about the change is like, I don't know. I hope it fucking keeps feeling different because then the horizon may be brighter. Then it's like saying, well, who knows what the idea that a live audience watched a sitcom and they went there and they watched yes, that probably is a long way from home now. We're probably
the
not
old
there.
world of multis are a little different.
But maybe a new version of that thing does spring up, and I'm not smart enough to
Agreed.
figure it out.
Same with me.
So it's like, let the tinker
so-
sink.
yeah,
Go for it. Whatever you're trying to do, I like that idea because to me, it's more create your own adventure instead of just
I think
like
that's right.
format. You're like, we need a little bit of funk in there.
But the game and what I've realized I love about TV is once you've created a quarter pounder with cheese, there's when you go back to art versus grind, there's a lot of great art in just making that quarter pounder over and over and over. And it is.
It is the best.
And when you do it for a while, you think like, maybe it's not the best. Maybe it's just a quarter pounder with cheese. And then you go like, I made a project where, part of it, I was like, you break up the acts. I'm like, if the first act's a cheeseburger and fries at a Chicago diner, and the second act is like a vegan burger with sweet potato fries, but it tastes right. Like one of those good ones.
Right.
With like then one of those hipster sodas. It tastes like a Coke.
Like an Olipop.
Yeah, it tastes like a goddamn Coke. But what's in it? I don't know.
Don't
but
care.
everybody tells me it's healthy. I used to think then the third act should be like a fucking sushi platter.
Oh.
So that the audience goes like, and they're as manic as me. And now as I've aged, I'm kind of like, when I'm watching something and I see the people doing it for the writer's room.
Yeah.
And I see the people doing it for each other. And the idea of like, he's the comic's comic or the writer's writer, the actor's actor. I used to really value that and think it was cool. And now I'm like, you're the audience's actor. You know who you're.
It's for the people watching.
Yeah, you know who this is for? The millions of people at home. You know what they don't want in that third act? Fucking sushi, you goofball. They might not even want an Impossible Burger. What are you doing? And so you can go like, well, I got bored. So what I thought, who cares?
Yeah, it's not for you.
They like it.
Right.
You like doing it. Have some fucking gratitude,
Yeah.
motherfucker, and
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
And
Also, make a really good burger at top.
and
up
then
top.
and can you do that? And
Yeah.
can you keep doing it?
Yeah.
'Cause going back to the thing you were saying about the SNL things, when people keep changing, you go like, "What, you think it's easy? You think it's easy to make a great burger and have a successful restaurant for a decade?
Good luck.
Try it.
Yeah, go ahead, do it. Yeah.
You can maybe get 5 or 6 episodes, maybe 2 years. Try it for 10.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're able to be on a group, even if you're not the main chef, I'm like, oh, I'm reestablishing of like, oh, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Fill it up where you're like, everybody here's a killer. Everyone's so funny. I want everyone to score. These people make me laugh. Whoever creates it, I think they're smarter than all of us. They understand something that we don't
Sure.
about the engine of this car.
Yes.
And you go, and if you can land in it, and in this day and age, that thing can drive, you say at the beginning when we're all signing our contracts, anybody here a fucking maniac, or are we all adults? Anybody gonna get weird?
Yeah.
Because if not, let's play this game for a while. There should be is anybody a maniac talk before every
Well, you know how they have
job.
what do they have before the jobs? We have to do like the sex. What is it called? They make us sit. Before you shoot a TV
Oh,
show.
the sexual harassment
The sexual
training?
harassment
Yeah,
training,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
The training,
yeah. Which is a nightmare.
But it'd be so funny if they had a
Are you a maniac
Yeah, are you a
training?
maniac training?
Yes. And then you get quizzed on it.
Yeah.
Because part of the maniac training is like, you're going to be fine season 1. What happens if all the press says you're good? What do you think of everybody else? Be honest. And a lie detector. I think everyone's equal.
Yeah, right
I think
away.
I'm better than all these fools. And they're going to say, how about that person gets all the heat? How are you going to feel? I'm going to hate him so much. I'm going to go crazy. Okay, you're a maniac. You're allowed to have some feelings.
Yeah, some.
But like, this is a team.
Yeah,
and
you
we're
don't-
trying
you-
to win on the team.
You know what that's like? That's like, did you ever see, the movie inside the movie? Oh, For Your Consideration. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
For Your Consideration. Chris Guest.
Chris Guest. Yeah.
But it was a brilliant
Yeah, it was
concept.
really
it
fun.
was about a bunch of yahoos who made a bad
Yes,
movie,
and
and
it
they
was
think that
Oscar
there's
buzz.
Oscar buzz.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Yes.
And they all
It's
change their
perfect.
personalities. It is a microcosm of society in general.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
moment
yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah,
tell people that they're this, they
believe
just
it.
believe
So
it.
we used to do to my Aunt Philomena growing up. My mom's
By the way,
younger sister.
what a name.
Yeah.
Philomena. Did you
Yeah.
call her Aunt Phil?
I mean, kinda. Mostly Philomena.
You'd say the full name.
Yeah, always.
Aunt Philomena?
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it in the yard.
Yeah. Philomena!
Aunt Philomena! Nah, yeah. see.
I don't think I ever called her Phil. I think her siblings might have called her Philly, but I called her Philomena.
I like Philly.
Me too.
Aunt Philly's good.
cool.
What about her, though? Go ahead.
Well, my uncles used to do a game where they would say, when you see Philomena, ask her if she's okay. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
They would say later, the next round, say she looks like a little pasty. See if she's okay. And so the kids, you would just be like, hey, Timmy, hey, Johnny, hey, Philomena, are you okay? She'd go, I'm fine. Why? Anyhow, blah, 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 blah. And then later, hey, Philomena, you okay? You look pasty. Why are you so pasty? By the end of the thing, she'd be like,
I think I'm sick.
yeah, because it's that same thing. If
Yeah.
somebody tells you you're something, you're something.
You are. Yeah, you introduce it into their mind, it
And
just
it
happens.
starts. And if that happens in a cast, I mean, I bet it's the same thing with sports. You know,
What do you mean? That's just,
yeah.
it's got to be.
the thing about sports I look at is so different than our game.
Yeah.
Because I just think like, I don't know, I like to be a fan and not think about it. But you imagine how hard it must be if like, somebody has like a great season or gets a big contract. You all pretend to be happy where you're like, 84 million, 3 years, guaranteed.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man, blessed. You've said blessed a few times. You're more than blessed. You are $81.3 million richer than me. It's a lot of money, my guy. Because
doing it.
I'm on a 1 year, $3 million deal, and I was bragging
Yeah.
to everyone in my life. I pay for everything to everybody. I genuinely don't think you're better than me. We're both tight ends. I think you're good. You're young. I think you're good. You're $81 million more valuable to this business than I am, it's hard to go to practice.
Yeah.
Unless-
How do you justify?
How do you
What do you do?
justify if you go like, I'm a 10-year vet, I'm one of those guys, I'm in the league. And then they go, yeah, the Bengals are offering me your agent calls and they go like, 1-year deal, league minimum. And you go, really? What's the franchise tag for my position? The middle. $35 million. And what's the league minimum for a 10-year? $900,000.
Yeah, 9.
900 to
Just shy of $1 million. That's how they'd say
that's
it.
all pre-tax.
That's how they'd phrase it.
That's
They'd phrase it.
pre-taxes.
Yeah, it's around $1 million. It's just right, kissing up to $1
And
million.
what's guaranteed if I get injured? Not that much.
No, if you get, let me look at the paperwork. There is none of that.
No, so you'd be out. So
Yeah.
you're essentially paid per day around like $4,500.
Right? And these other guys are making just shy of
So much money.
just shy of like 78 grand a day.
And then the coach goes like this. This is about us, who we stand for. You watch Hard Knocks, it's one of those speeches, and they're like, what's our identity? I think we all have different identities. It's about wins and losses. It is about wins and losses. It's about other things too.
It's a lot of other stuff that's going on.
It's about wins and losses. 84 million league minimum. That's something too.
By the way, we should make a doc called League Minimum and follow just League Minimum guys.
Incredible.
Psychologically find out how they actually feel about the locker room. Because it is funny,
It's
those guys that
different.
get stepped on, like, did you watch New Hard Knocks? I didn't see it.
This season?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a blast.
Well, I want to watch it. I've stayed away from it for
Why?
a second.
As a Bear fan, you're afraid of
No, well, here's the deal. I ran into Aaron Rodgers at a golf thing. And I remember being in the cart and being, just canned. I was canned. And my buddy, who's just such a fucking instigator, was like, Aaron Rodgers is at the halfway house there. And I was like, no shit.
Yeah.
And I can hear myself being like, say something fucking funny to him. Say something real fucking funny, real sharp,
That's
real
your inner
Chicago.
voice.
Yeah, so I'm like, just give him something good,
Yeah.
And I get up there. He turns, he goes, what's up, guys? And I go, hey, you doing? That's it. Hey, how you doing? And the whole time I was like, don't say anything else. Don't say anything else. Nothing came out. Because inherently, I don't give a fuck. Every Chicago fan knows.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Here's what
I would kill to have him on the Bears.
here's what's
I'd
nice.
slit a throat.
So here's what's nice about this documentary. So I'm doing a podcast now with my buddy Garrett. Do you know Gareth Reynolds?
I love Gareth Reynolds.
Yeah,
Gareth
yeah.
Reynolds was a
Okay.
writer on the animated series I just did.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
he-
did you do a voice on that? No.
Which one was this?
On Royal Crackers?
No.
Okay.
And
And you should.
yeah, great.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Let's go.
League minimum.
Like, maybe.
Less.
At less. Yeah, at best. Yeah, I was just going to say.
So he's a diehard Packer fan. You know,
Yeah.
the tattoo on his arm, and just loves Aaron Rodgers. And for years, as a diehard Bears fan, it's been hard. And so I have convinced I anytime like Aaron Rodgers in like a denim outfit, I just send it to Gareth and I'll be like, interesting outfit. Any press he does, I'd be like, I'm not sure if to me this would be what leadership was.
But,
But I'm also like, but maybe it's because I'm a Bears fan. But like talking about going in a dark room for 5 days while I'm an offensive lineman and I'm like working really hard. Maybe I'd like him to be like studying film. I don't know. Just doesn't feel like a leader to me. But it's a new world. And he's always like, "Oh, shut up, shut up." Once he's gone to the Jets, the narrative has gone so 180 where I'm like, "How do you get rid of such a legend? He's so charming."
And he's like, who, denim jacket
yeah,
guy?
I'm like, and then he'll send me back the photos, and I'm like, he was going through. You know what? He's got a sense of humor.
He's experimenting.
He's fun.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Sorry
He-
you're so uptight.
it's like stuck in your Green Bay mentality. But it's been really fun to watch as a Bears fan because you get to finally go like, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of our era.
Oh, of all time.
And you're like, but you also, there's only so many of these truly great players.
Yeah.
The problem was he hated us
he hated
so
us.
bad.
Well, it was actually more we hated him.
yes.
He was so good.
Yeah.
It was the thing of when someone hates you and your ability,
Yeah.
but they really don't have
care.
much.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't
Stop it.
give a fuck.
Yeah, like the only reason he did the "I own you" is because like some lady flicked him off and yelled. You heard her Chicago being like, "Fuck yeah,
Fuck you,
And you're like-
Roger. Yeah.
You're like, "Fuck you."
Well, she's yeah.
What do
You know
you
what the
think
relationship is? It's San Francisco and L.A. I always say this.
Yeah.
San Francisco inherently hates Los Angeles, and they always talk shit. Everybody up there's
yeah.
like, "Fuck, L, you live down in that shithole."
And
we don't
never
give a
think-
fuck at all.
I don't even view them as in California.
They're not.
I'm like this. That's yeah. I visit. I like it there. It's nice.
It's fine.
Who cares?
I don't think about it even a little bit.
Ever.
I can't stand
That's
us.
really right.
That is Rogers
That's
and the Bears.
exactly right.
It's like he doesn't give. He never gave a fuck until he was so funny. By the way, and all that stuff was funny.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, so it was like
it was hard.
he was so good. We were little brother syndrome. We were like, "I'll get you one day."
Just to titillate the fans, because I know they would love to hear more
Yeah.
about this. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, I know they.
But what do you think of our Bears this year?
I'm still behind the kid. I still love the kid. Yeah,
yeah,
I
for
still
sure.
love the
Me
kid.
too.
Well, I know, but everyone's got their own 2 cents about him. You know, I'm still behind the kid. I love him a lot.
Your tone's different than mine.
Yeah, you're gung ho.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not seeing any of the hesitation yet. You look at the team he had last year and what he pulled off.
No, it was impressive as shit. Yeah.
I'm like, you
Yeah,
look at
no.
what he did in Ohio State.
Yeah.
His first year he had Nagy. Nagy was a maniac.
I know. And
He was a maniac.
There's a piece of Nagy that I really loved.
I did too.
Just because he was a fucking
He was a
lunatic. Yeah.
was a
I like
maniac.
lunatic shit
Me too.
because Belichick was a lunatic coach too.
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
did
yeah,
it differently.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's some guys that know how to do it the right, like Popovich for basketball.
Yeah.
They were like, Greg Popovich is a fucking lunatic. He was just he was brilliant.
Or they just happened to win.
Yeah, they're just good.
Because it goes back to like
I know.
he also had Tim Duncan.
Right.
The last few years, now that he's got that 7'10" kid who can handle the rock.
Yeah.
He's gonna go back to being a great coach. Last few years, what have the Spurs been doing? He's still the same maniac.
Sleeping. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
No, it's true. It is. A part of it is how you control your mania. But
Yeah.
I think I think the Bears are going to be definitely stronger than we were last year.
Right.
But I'm forever worried about what happens with the Bears when it gets good.
Meaning?
Every time when it gets a little bit good, we start to fucking
Go to nuts.
go to shit. And we believe in ourselves in a way where you're like, look at us. Look at this. And then it just spills over. We're like, all right. Which is, by the way, to me,
That's
the opposite.
the first time I've heard that take
we just-
on Bears success. When it gets a little bit good as an organization, the Chicago Bears go, look at us.
Look at us.
Huh?
Chicago gets like proud of itself, like,
Yeah.
not bad.
Not bad.
Which is the opposite with the Cubs.
Yeah.
The Cubs at the beginning of the year, every time, suck. They fucking, my dad, the Cubs fucking suck. They're fucking 10 away from 500. Now look at them and everyone's like, hey.
I don't know.
Cubs,
I don't know.
pretty cool
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
St. Louis in last. It's the
yeah.
same conversation. So for me, with the Bears my whole life, I've never gotten too excited about, only because
You're afraid that they're going to emotionally hurt you because they're going to blow
Well, they
because of their
do.
attitude.
what the fuck has happened every year? I mean,
They're going to blow. Well, you know what's funny about our age gap is
like how hard did you cry in 06? 06?
when the Cubs won the World Series?
No.
Or no, that was
06 Bears.
Oh, this is the
No, 07.
It's the double doink, whatever that was. You
Yeah, that
talking
was
about
07.
I don't remember the year. I didn't cry.
It's just one of those moments where I'm like, this is it.
What
huh?
what I had on that when that was the kid Cody Parkey, the kicker who
Cody Parkey.
Pecky. I remember on that one. I really liked our team. I really thought we were building. I did have the nickname Money Mitch for Mitch Trubisky.
Did you really?
Oh yeah,
You like
because he seemed to be clutch. I hated the
Yeah.
draft pick. I hate when these guys pretend to be geniuses and go like, "We've got 3 kids who have had 4 years in college. They put up really big numbers, and the obvious choice is to go after them." There's some muscle-bound kid who has never played the game of football.
Yeah.
Deep in the outback, and I'm a genius.
He's
And
training using truck tires.
and we're gonna. And where did he play college? North Carolina. That's a. They have a football team. What were his numbers? He was a backup. I'm like, I'm being spun that this is a good move. You got guys.
You'll see.
But you got guys. I'm like, I watched Deshaun Watson and I don't watch college football. I just watch the big games.
yeah.
That dude's available.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
good.
We traded. Take that guy.
Yeah.
Which one? The guy I just watched 3 weeks ago, who's the best player in college football, who happens to play a quarterback position of need. And then they go, Bears have traded up. And I'm like, I'm sure it's that kid from Clemson. And then they go, Mitchell. And then the first thing I Googled was he had an old tweet that said, I like kissing titties. Do you remember this?
I actually really respected that tweet a lot.
I like kissing titties as your leader.
Come on, man. He's not wrong. I do like kissing titties. Give him a little bit of
Yes.
credit.
I get the thought, but you got to walk through this. He's sitting there. He goes, I like kissing titties.
His boy goes, write it.
But then the leader goes like this. That's a good idea. Logs in. I space like kiss and
Send it.
who's it for? What are people gonna go like? Hey man, I got this I just saw this unbelievable tweet. Why a college football player? What did it say? I like kissing titties. Retweet. That shit's not gonna pop. People are gonna go like this. Yeah, that's like the same thing. His next tweet is like, taking big dumps feels good.
Yeah.
Don't tweet it.
Don't tweet that.
Don't do it.
I am going to get behind titties.
You like the tweet.
I think it's funny. I do like kissing big titties. Why not? Also, you're in the mind of a 20-year-old kid.
Still, you're putting a 20-year-old kid who's being groomed.
I know,
Now, if
but-
you're talking
but-
about an undrafted free agent who like whoever we got that quarterback now, that kid Pangent, whatever his name is, who might be something.
Sure.
If he tweeted from Shepherd State, I like kissing big asses, I'd go like this. Doesn't matter.
And I also and then again,
It's fun.
it's fun.
It'd be fun. I get it.
You're saying star shit.
I'm saying
Being groomed, the machine's behind you.
when you're in high school and you're the high school player of the year and
Yeah.
you've got people in your ear and also filling your wallet with money
Yeah.
and them going like, so you will have this opportunity to live out this dream. You are on a track. We're going to go
Mm-hmm. It's coming.
It's coming for you. Will have a look. I don't know if you'll deliver. But there's a lot of those kids that you're like, there's only 25 of them that get invited to all these camps.
Right.
You're invited to the camps. You're hanging out on a Friday night. You're going like this. I got to go public with something. What are you announcing? A new partnership? No. I'm going to announce that I like to kiss tits.
Slow clap from the whole room.
No.
I did it.
No.
No one says no to that guy. That's the problem. When you're young and you're the most successful, there is no one in your group that
Inner
goes,
voice.
don't do it.
Inner voice.
Doesn't have it. Doesn't have it. He's been fucking, his brain's been getting mishmashed around in his head since he was 7. Since his dad was like, hit the concrete wall in the garage until you can't feel your feet. Then you get dinner. That's the thing about these football players. The more football players I become friends with in the professional sense, the more you're like, when they're 30 and they go, I kind of want to walk soon. And everyone's like, what? And you're like,
You're
dude.
giving this something. You're like, I have to.
They broke their body, their whole, since they were
It's a vicious
children.
thing, yeah.
Now, if a fucking golfer is like, I gotta get out, you're like, you're fucking.
I need a break to get my feet on the ground. Your feet are on the
You're
ground.
like, the whole time.
You're doing just fine. Just golf poorly for a couple years, but I wouldn't stop. The golden faucet is shooting out gold. I would stay there, man. Let them kick you off that court.
That's
my
what I
guy.
would say if I had a young boy. If I ever have a young boy, 100%. You're golfing every day. You're playing no other sports but golf. Because like you look at, I love golf. I'm a big golfer. You look at a guy who plays good golf. There's a kid named Will Zalatoris. I don't know if you ever know anything about it. He was talking about how he didn't like to live and all this stuff, and he's like, "You're making plenty of money and about it up." I think he spoke a little out of turn because there's a lot of guys on tour that aren't making great money. But here's a guy, Will, who he's not Mr. I win, and he's still making like 8 a year, and you're like,
Come on, man.
that's fucking incredible.
Yeah. Come on, man.
If you can walk with 8 million a year and you barely did anything,
And what you did was golf, and at worst, you have some like shoulder pain. At worst.
at worst,
The guys I feel the most bad for are, and just I'm curious to see what the next 20 years is going to be, is the MMA community.
oh man, dude, I couldn't agree with you more.
because-
it's. Have you ever been to a live event?
Yes.
I've sat behind Rogan on the floor, and
It's wild, man.
it sounds sad. I get sad how hard did
So
they hit.
I got into this early. So
Yeah.
when Dana White first bought it, I was kind of getting into then. I liked the old stuff that you used to get like VHSs of.
Oh, yeah,
Where
yeah,
you were
yeah.
like, oh, it was really fun. And then when it started getting mainstream, I felt like, oh, this was really like early on. And I was really into it. We went to an event. Fox did some event back in the day. I think it was Junior Dos Santos or something. And Fox got me and a bunch of buddies to go. So we rented a limo.
Oh, that's
And we were
cool.
like, what a blast. Smoked way too much weed. Drank. We were like, what a. And we get there and I'm like, the vibe in here was different than I expected. 60% of the people in this room trained.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is 20,000 people in one room. so many sweat outfits, right? And I thought of it like we were going to a concert or like a sporting event.
Yeah.
Where it's not, you don't go to a baseball game and you go, these are 80% scouts and minor league players.
Right.
That's not what happens.
No.
They're fans.
Yeah.
I was looking around. I would say at that time, realistically, 20% of the people had cauliflower ears.
Oh,
You'd
yeah.
go to the bathroom and I'd be like, everybody in here could murder everybody in here is the lead of the action film, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing starts, I sit down, I'm like, different vibe. Instantly being like, let's not as a group of like stone sissies get in any sort of altercation.
Yeah, don't look at anybody, guys.
Just watch the fight, have a little fun. We get in there, we're starting to get jacked up. The walkouts, you're like, what a fucking blast. I was like, oh, this is the best. The first hit where it sounds like somebody open hand slapped cold meat. But it was a closed kick to the face. That like if you ever like just like slap something in a bathroom where you think like, oh, something is hurt. Every human instinct in you goes like this. No, stop this. Stop this.
Yeah.
And then they keep going and you watch the faces turn into mashed potatoes and you're like, you watch the legs swell and then you're going into the strategy where you go like, he's got to block the leg kicks.
Yeah.
And then you're like, if
Put
he
your
doesn't-
arm up.
and you, at a certain point, you're like, throw in the towel.
Yeah, dude.
Just throw it for who? Both.
All of us.
Throw it in the
For
towel.
America. Please.
Everybody. For the global throw in the towel, it's so brutal. Give me jiu-jitsu where you're like, they're going.
They're rolling.
No breaking bones.
Right. They're rolling a
The
lot.
ref calls stoppage.
Right, he's like,
It's
enough,
not
that's
up to
enough.
it's not up to a fighter who's doing this to support his village or his family to say like, you have gotten my arm in an compromised position. I tap. The decision's not yours. There should be a guy who sits like in a tennis judge's seat who just goes like, that's enough.
Enough.
Your arm is in your like, you'll
see no more.
And the guy goes, I would have got out. Don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Because if you didn't, we have now been conditioned watching that to watch a man kick another man, have the man's leg snap, and I go like this now when it happens, like, yeah, well, it was a great block. It's not a great block. This is a devastating leg injury.
Watching it, hearing it, feeling it, I got to tell you,
Shocking,
I've
man.
been to a few with him, and I just, every time, I do this a lot. Fuck.
see.
When you feel somebody, the hardest ones to watch for sure, the easiest ones to watch are anything lightweight.
Yeah.
Anything lightweight because they're both kind of hucking and throwing.
yeah.
But when you watch heavyweights,
Yeah, it's different.
oh my God.
It's crazy.
It's absurd. I've never seen a heavyweight boxing match. I can imagine
Yeah.
that it's the same.
I don't know why that feels different to me, and I know it's not, but the amount of padding, and I'll tell you the other world we're getting into that's crazy is that bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, I've seen this a few times online. Yeah,
It's not only back, it's popular.
I argue it'll probably be as popular at some point as UFC.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it'll be the takeover.
Every fight,
Somebody dies.
the faces post-fight
Yeah,
are horrific.
yeah.
They quite literally look like if you ever did like a movie with like special effects and you go to like the weird room where like the people are and they have to be like, we have to do like a cast of your lips and you're like, thanks. And you're like, whoa, what are all these faces? And it'll be like a nose over here, a mouth like that. You'll do interviews and I'm like, he's straight up missing teeth.
Yeah.
And they go like, yeah, they got punched out. These people have the brain power in that moment to go like, yeah, he caught me with the right hand. Yeah. What in God's name is happening, man?
I'm scared for what that. And by the way,
Wild.
we're worried about football helmets not being protective enough.
Well,
in
now
your
they
life.
wear those like goofy cones.
Yeah, but the people
that's what I
beating each
mean.
other with raw fists.
That's what I mean. I was like, whoever's, it's fake. Because I'm like, we're pretending to care about this safety.
Mm-hmm.
Soon it'll be on the same network.
yeah, 100%. You know, ESPN eventually is going to be like,
Of course they will.
let's do this full
Yeah.
time.
Well, they did a thing for a while, which was they tried to do the reality show. They might still have it, but I was working out in my garage and I turned it on because I wanted to have something to push.
Mm-hmm.
It was men standing across from each other, holding onto a bar and slapping each other in the face with a bunch of like hand powder.
I've seen this.
It was
Slap boxing. Slap boxing.
But
I've seen this.
It was like their story.
Yeah.
They're not athletes.
These are just guys that
These
are good
are-
at slapping.
Yeah, but also some are.
Yeah.
Others that I saw were guys who are like, they didn't mention this in the interview, but got out of jail, have a meth problem, have 2 kids. You slap me, I get $5,000. I fall, I only get 4.
Yeah.
You fall, I get 12.
I'm standing up.
You're not an athlete.
Uh-uh.
You're just willing to get slapped in the
Yeah,
face
right.
because you need money in a very significant way. And you go like, I can get behind an athlete who trains and go like, I know it is brutal, but it's an art form and they're really working at it. And
Yeah.
they're mixing jiu-jitsu with wrestling. If we're in the world where pretty soon it's breaking bottles over fools' heads, and it's 2 guys and they go like, all right, which bottle are you going to take? I'm going to break that over your head. And if you don't die, you break that over my head. And the pregame interview is like, his right hand's weak, man. When he breaks it, it's not going to hurt my
It's not
head
going to
that
hurt.
bad.
He's taken like bottles like this to the face before. This is not the first time we've seen him take a triple pane green glass bottle to the face.
And then when it hits, it's like what you would expect. They go like, "Aw." Blood got you like, that was as gross. Everything he had just said and hyped me up for, I saw what I expected to see. A 300-pound fat guy hit him in the face. His legs wobbled. He fell down. He's concussed.
Yeah, it's bad.
His brain is broken.
The future of it is scary. And
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm blessed that we do sissy work with
yeah.
cameras. We're sissy kids with cameras.
For sure.
I want to tell you, I thank
yeah.
you so much for coming.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
been
for
an
having me,
absolute pleasure. I imagine after this, we'll have to have some of these in real life
I'm
off
in,
the show.
100%, man.
Because you're a good egg.
Yeah, I got you.
Do me a big favor.
Yeah.
Look into that camera right there.
Yeah.
We end the show the same way, with one word or one phrase. So whenever you're ready, one word or one phrase. It used to be a word. People didn't like it. Some people did a phrase. But this will be embedded in the history of the show forever. So one word or one phrase into that camera to end the episode whenever you're ready.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.